I'm glad to see you all here. I'm waiting for my guest. I was just okay. So I said, I'm gonna go a little early today so I can welcome everybody as they come in. Okay? We all know that technology don't always work the way it's supposed to, but it's all good because we still here together. Okay? Hello, hello. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay? I appreciate each and every one of you for your support. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. Hi, Claire. Um, uh, whatever. Okay. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. All right. I love you guys' content too, cause I'll be on notes and I like, hey, and I give you a like because you guys are outstanding. Oh, you're killing it out there. Okay. Yes. We waiting for Jessica Ann. She'll be here. She will not disappoint. Okay. I know I went live a little early. Okay. Speaking. Okay, here she is.
I was surprised when I saw the button that you're already live, and I was like, oh.
Girl, don't pay me no attention. I was having anxiety, okay? So I said the best thing for me to do is come in and greet the people. Okay?
There you go.
because we know without the people, we wouldn't be here, right?
Exactly, yes. Absolutely, yeah. I'm I'm fine starting a little bit early. This is great.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely, because we know the early bird catches the worm, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I am honored. Okay, well, Margaret Williams, I am the publisher of the Empowered Leader publication, okay, where I help marginalized leaders, okay, increase their visibility, their influence, and whatever else so we can achieve our desired outcomes. That's why we're here today. Isn't that right,
Yes.
Jessica Ann? And you are such a bright light in the community. And you and I actually had a plan last year a couple of times to get together, but your schedule was so busy, you know.
I was. At the end of last year, it was crazy trying to finish publishing, so.
Absolutely. As we know, that's a process, individualized. It can differ from person to person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I mean, depends on how you publish, all the different avenues that you publish in. It's going to look different a little bit for everyone. But yeah, so yeah, I did self-publishing, got my book Woven in Time out at the end of December. And it's exciting to say that I'm already working on book 2 because it is a planned trilogy. So I've already started writing that, which has been great.
When you talked about that, I was so excited to set up this appointment so we can look at it underneath the surface, okay?
Yes.
And so you can talk about this. Now, Jessica Ann is a creative entrepreneur and author who chose alignment over predictability. Okay? Through her platform, Wildest Dreams, she writes and teaches about the disciplined pursuit of creative work, not as fantasy, but as commitment. Our focus is authenticity in action, trusting your inner knowing enough to build a life around it. Okay? So she is the author of The Woven in Time, a novel she completed despite doubt, fear, and internal resistance that often accompanies meaningful work. Okay? The book represents more than creative expression. It reflects her decision to move forward before she felt fully ready. Okay? Because if we wait till we're ready, we may not never start, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And can I just say, can I have you introduce me every time I go anywhere? That was wonderful.
Well, I wasn't done, but I'll capture the rest in the article when it's published, okay? I am so honored to have you here today, okay? We're talking with Jessica Ann about finding purpose in life.
Yeah, I mean, all of the things you just said is it's finding purpose, finding your creative path again is going to be different for everyone. One of the things I think for me when I jumped off onto this, path of writing and publishing this book, but also taking a risk on myself, because that's really what a lot of this is, writing, whether it's writing a book, whether it is starting a nonprofit, whether it is, being a transformational leader, whatever is your, purpose or mission, what you love to do in life. It is a risk that, you take when you go from kind of the comfort of life, the comfort of a 9 to 5 existence or that steady income or something like that. But you have to, push through if you want to make this your life. And that's the thing. And maybe sometimes that's not the path for everyone. I realized I've had kind of an up, and we've talked about this before, just in our personal chats. But like, I've had a little bit of a career background where I've had moments where I have, been doing a lot of community work. I've started a nonprofit before, but then I've also had moments where I am doing the 9 to 5 job, and I wanted the steady income, and I wanted, a little bit of a break from that creative, out there lifestyle. So again, it's always a balance, and I think we have different moments in our lives when we're called to do, certain things. And this last year, I've been called to really kind of step out there and put myself and my book out into the world, and put my voice out into the world, which has been hard. Like you said, it's scary when we are, called to kind of do something big. And I think that's where I'm at.
How can we help others to propel their lives and their careers forward if we are unwilling to take risk?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, one of the things, I've talked to people about, like obviously for me, writing is something I love to do. I also love talking to people. I love helping people also find their purpose and their dreams, if they're not sure what that is. Um, and so one of the things I always have done for myself sometimes when I've lost my way, but then for others too, is if you are struggling to find that purpose or that calling in life, so I do this like it's like a Venn diagram essentially where you have like 3 circles, like 3 bubbles, where in one circle you do all the things that you're good at. So, list those things. And then another bubble, you're going to put the things that you love to do that like really get you going, that you get energized from. And then in the third bubble, put the things that like, what does the world need? And then where those 3 overlap, because sometimes you might be good at something, but you don't want to do it for a living. Or sometimes you love doing something, but you don't want to make it your work. And so for me, where those 3 intersect, it is your purpose. That is the thing that you should be spending the majority of your time on, that our world needs, that you love doing, and that hopefully you can make money doing it too.
Right. Yes, and I love that. So when did this shift come for you?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I said, I've had a little bit of a interesting career path. So I haven't always been a writer. I got my bachelor's degree in anthropology and human rights. And because I always knew, so like the thread that has stayed with me throughout most of my career, my adulthood, and even probably my childhood too, is a love of people, honestly, a love of people and possibility. And my mind is always imaginative, and not just imaginative in terms of fictional stories, but also imaginative in dreaming about a future world that we get to create. Because I really believe to my core that humans, we are creators. We create our realities, we create stories, we create connections. I really believe that we are all creators and we do it in different ways. But at our core, that's, what we do. So for me, it's always been this love of people and kind of imagining a future. And I've always had that. And so when my parents, when I was a young teenager, my parents told me that I should go into business because they wanted me to have a good job and be practical. And I was like, no, I want to save the world. So I'm going to do human rights and to work with refugees and immigrants straight out of college. And so I did that for a while, about 5 years. I really loved that work. And I honestly met some of the most amazing people I've ever known doing that work, just from people all over the world. You see how resilient refugees and immigrants are when they come to our country. So it was life-changing work for me.
Let me ask you this question before I
Mhm.
forget. Doing that work, how did that shape the rest of your life up to now?
Yeah. So after that work, I was at the same time, there was actually a program that we had with the refugee clients. Not everyone had to be a part of it, but it was an optional thing where they can get like a plot of land and farm the land. This was in Kansas City, Kansas, that they had the project. And at the same time, so as my refugee clients were learning how to farm, or most of them probably already knew how to farm, I was learning how to farm at the same time. And I was learning about our earth a lot more. So I grew up in Southern California in basically a concrete jungle. So I grew up in a tiny apartment in a small backyard, and I never got to experience what it is to grow your own food. And so what started for me as a journey about learning about my own food quickly became, I had a son in 2012, and I learned about like more natural methods of parenting and just a lot of things of just getting back to my connection with the earth, with nature, and with people. And so like again, that's what then propelled me. I traveled for about 2 years. So me and my ex-husband, we ended up doing woofing. Are you familiar with that? It's worldwide opportunities on organic farms. So we decided to quit our jobs, leave everything that either sell or give away everything we owned in 2012. Our son was 5 months old, and we left for Peru. And we decided to travel and do woofing, which is where you work on a farm in exchange for food and housing. So
Oh,
yeah, like for me that was like a huge leap. Obviously, I was terrified. I think the first night that I was in Peru, I was shaking so hard, like I couldn't even eat dinner. It was crazy. Because I had never done anything like that before. I had never um taken such a big jump into doing something so radically different. But again, through that experience and traveling for about 2 years after that, staying on farms and communities, I again just like learned to appreciate the land. I learned to appreciate my own resilience and learn what I'm capable of. I learned just so many lessons. I also documented the entire thing, so future book someday. um, but yeah, so I think with my background in immigrant work and then traveling abroad, and then I ended up coming back to the United States and started a pay what you can local foods cafe in Missouri. And so that was another chunk of my life that I ran. It was a nonprofit. And so everything we did had, outwardly we looked like a regular restaurant, but we served all farm fresh foods. We sourced all of our food from about 15 area farmers. But then everything was by suggested donation. So we'd have suggested amount, but people could pay less, they could pay more, they could pay the suggested amount, or they could actually volunteer in exchange for a meal.
you know what? When I lived in Detroit, when I was growing up, they had these cooperatives. Is it similar to something like that?
It probably something similar to that vein, that it really became kind of this, like, community hub, which I think a lot of, like, cooperatives are. People would sometimes donate their vegetables and things like that to us, but we would also do classes about how to grow your own food or how to make kombucha or, all sorts of
Ooh.
things like that. But again, like, the same thread that has carried throughout my whole life has been this, just again, like, a love of people, a love of community, and I really think we can change the world, and I want like, that has been my driving goal for most of my life, is like that I am going to make an impact, whether it's through food, whether it's through writing, whether it's through my work. um that has been the thing that I've always done. So
Oh, wow, such an amazing life, and you're still young.
thank you. I turned 40 this year.
Okay, that's a celebration in itself, okay? And you are such an inspiration to others because look at your work that you're doing with OBA, okay? And helping to
Yes.
mold and shape the future generations so we can pass the baton to them and we can elevate in the process,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so if people aren't familiar, OBA is stands for Oba One Brilliant Arc. They are here on Substack, so if you guys aren't subscribed to them, you should definitely follow them here. One Brilliant Arc is a group of of storytellers, writers, editors who are really want to help people tell their authentic story, especially marginalized writers. But so many times that I keep seeing or talking to other people and other writers specifically who have said that they've been told they need to change their writing, or from an editor saying they need to, write to market, or to like, this is what's popular now, so you need to do this. It just makes me so upset. Hey, Opa. Makes me so upset that there aren't more people supporting writers telling their story, because that's what is important. Like, anyone can go out and write, I don't know, some, like a contemporary fiction, romance or something, like, not that that's a bad genre to write in, but that you can write to market. You can write what's popular right now. But what I think Substack writers specifically too are doing differently is they're trying to tell their stories. And so the work at One Brilliant Arc is about helping writers tell that authentic story, even though sometimes it's really scary because it's a lot easier to write superficially. It's a lot harder to write from your heart, from your soul, the story that maybe you're afraid to tell. And so, I've been working with them for the last few months now, as a creative consultant, and hopefully as a future, they have big dreams too of, having maybe their own publishing company, or media company. But it's really exciting, the work that they're doing. So if you are a writer and you're looking for an editor or an author coach, I would highly recommend working with them. They're great.
Now let's talk about your latest book. This is different than the writing that you had been doing previously. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. This was a book that I wrote. I actually wrote Woven in Time, book one, back in 2020. During COVID, my cafe had actually just closed, unfortunately, due to COVID, and I was at home, out of work, so for about 9 months. And that, like I said, I've always been someone who has an imaginative brain, but a lot of times the stories never make it onto paper. It's just, ideas, thoughts, and then they go away. But this story just started playing like scenes in a movie, honestly, in my head. And I thought, oh, just like most of my stories, this will just, be fleeting and go away. But they started becoming more persistent, and these characters started to become more real in my mind, and so I was like, maybe I need to write this down. And so I started plotting out all of these different scenes that were coming to me, and I quickly realized that this was gonna be way longer than just one book, that this is a planned trilogy, and I have the whole thing outlined. Um, and then I ended up writing book 1 in 2020, but then I also went through a divorce at the same year, and that was when I kind of just put all of the creative stuff aside for a while, shelved the book, and ended up, getting a steady 9 to 5 job because I had to learn out how to be a single mom for the first time in my life. And did that for about 5 years. And then I'm happy to say that I've come back to the story and the book, and the characters are still just as alive in my mind. And the reviews have honestly been so amazing. I've been blown away, brought to tears by some of the reviews that people have written about Woven in Time. It's better than I could have ever imagined.
You are a bright light for all the people that are listening, and for those to listen to the replay. And so you show what's possible, for adversities and all the challenges and roadblocks that you face. You came out with all of this experience, okay, and expertise to share with the world. And that's amazing,
Thank you.
It truly is.
Yeah, I think, I do wonder sometimes about, like, where does it come from? Because I do think it has to be kind of this internal drive that is what pushes us through those fears and those doubts. And I'm like, what may like because a lot of people tell me this. They're like, you just like have an idea for something and then you just go do it. Like what makes you able to do that? And so I've asked myself this question a lot of times too, because I'm like, what? Because I don't think I'm different than anyone else. I think anyone can do those things. Anyone can do whatever they set their mind to. But what holds so many people back versus I kind of just charge forward and go for it. Because it doesn't mean I don't have fear. I absolutely do. I have days I am like crying or terrified or all of the above. So it's not lack of fear. I do think it has to do with trust, like trusting myself and trusting my intuition and that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I have a really deep sense of this is what I'm here for. Um, so that is probably big. I also think that I wouldn't ever wish upon anybody my childhood, but I grew up with a single mom who had cancer, and I watched her go in and out of hospitals but throughout all of the difficulties, she was always such a loving and amazing mom. And then she did eventually pass away when I was 10. Oh, did you froze? I'm not sure. Oh, there you are again. Okay. But through I do think having a difficult childhood, like I said, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone else, but having that, like you said, going through adversity, learning how to overcome things. A lot of times we were in and out of households. We were, homeless or poor, living with my grandma. Just so many things that were really difficult, but have absolutely shaped who I am today. And I really, again, I still have the thread of her that she was so loving and amazing to me and my sister that even though we had nothing, a lot of times we had love and each other. And like that is enough to carry you through. And that, like, I carry that same thread to today.
I love that because a lot of people come from broken families or abused, you know, upbringing or whatever, and we didn't have that. So
Mhm.
that's a wonderful thing. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah, I know
amazing.
I'm
Okay to have.
absolutely lucky to have, yeah, even, when she was sick and things like that, to have that consistent love, I think was huge. And I'm, yeah, very lucky to have that.
And that comes out in your work, okay? In everything that you do as a result.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I hope to. I hope to like I mean, that's what I really want for our world is I want more people feeling, encouraged to do what they love, whatever is that calling, whatever they feel like their purpose is. It doesn't have to be as grand as what I feel like I'm here to do, but even, making a little bit of a difference, if everyone does their part, then we really do change the world. Like, that's the beautiful thing. Like, if we all just do a little piece, then we can make a beautiful world that is caring and compassionate and, values everyone and values our planet. So, you know, I have no idea what I'll be doing in another like 10 to 15 years after, but I feel like I'm just going to keep doing whatever is the next thing, um, in terms of moving that forward.
I had a download earlier, okay?
Yeah,
Because I'm an empath, and
I love
it
it.
just flashed in front of my eyes that you're doing this 4-part trilogy. Had you ever thought about becoming a filmmaker? You could turn your books into, look at Stan Lee. Stan Lee made so much money. I loved his movies, And so, had you ever thought about that? Because think about it. Substack is full of all type of content creators. A few weeks ago, I had a interview with Fiona Leonard, who is a screenwriter.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
So I just want to just
Yeah.
give you that tip.
Well,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, it has definitely been in my mind that a lot of people also tell me that my book, who have read it, that it plays like a movie in their heads too, and they're like, "This would make such a good movie or a Netflix series," So, I would, if there's any screenwriters out there or directors or producers listening,
Let's go. Let's go.
got the first one written. But yeah, that is definitely a goal of mine, not because I want necessarily I don't know, the fame of having, but like of getting it out there in the world more, because I really do think this is a story that resonates with a lot of people. It's not, sometimes I talk about, marketing and branding and finding your audience. But sometimes I think that my book has a wider audience. You can't be for everyone, but you can have a wider audience. And so I've had a lot of different people read my book and loved it. And so it's been interesting to think that, okay, if this is being enjoyed by so many different people, then maybe it could, be a movie someday, which would be so cool.
It can be because, like you said earlier, you don't think about things, you just do it. And that's what Nike said.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. I'll keep going until I get that movie deal.
Okay. Again, her name is what did I say her name was? Fiona Leonard. Okay.
Okay.
She knows people too. Okay. So it's all about who you know. Okay, that's what made me successful in my career
Yeah.
and here on Substack. So if we can help you,
I would love
let's
it.
do it. Okay,
I would
let's
love
do
it, and
it.
I think you hit on the point. It is about who you know, but it's also about who you connect with. It's not just getting to know people for the sake of the connections and that you'll get, but like that's what I love about Substack is that it's really about people trying to authentically connect with one another. It's such a beautiful thing for, the day and age that we're in with the internet, and so much of social media is kind of the opposite is it feels, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok feel so superficial, where Substack, I really think it's changing how we connect. And if people aren't wanting and trying to grow on Substack or struggling who are listening, that's probably my best advice. And I would bet you would say the same thing too, Margaret. Like
Of
that
course.
is connecting with people, like authentically make connections, reach out to people, make sure you're responding, on your comments and your posts, and you're actually reading other people's writing here too. Um, 'Cause I think that's how we grow. That's how we're gonna grow together. And I really do believe in the ability of creating community and that being the thing that, changes things.
This makes all the difference in the world.
It really
How do you
does.
think? How do you think I come up with all these collaborations? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, it don't just happen. All right, I connect with people and see, hey, do our values are in alignment?
Yep.
Okay, uh, they might be talking about different things, but an empowered leader encompasses a multitude of things. Okay, so I can find some way for us to meet, and to
Mhm.
partner uh, for the greater good of all. Okay, not just me. I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this for everyone that participates, so we can all learn and grow together. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was how we got connected. I think you watched another one of my Substack lives, and then you reached out to me.
Absolutely. I see an opportunity. I'm going to reach out. Normally, I'll reach out to you while you're on that live. Okay. So I won't forget. Okay.
Yep.
And then I'll move to the next person. That's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So, did you have anything else you want to talk about or give people some suggestions on how or recommendations on what they can do?
Yeah, I would say, since most of the people usually, listening here on Substack are fellow writers, whether you're writing here on Substack or you're writing, a book outside of Substack as well, being fiction or nonfiction is probably my best advice is don't be afraid to be yourself. It's so much of our society, I think, teaches us to put masks on, to try to conform, to, again, write to market or write for an audience. But I think what resonates the most with people is when you are yourself and you're your authentic self and letting that come out. That's what resonates because it also gives other people permission to be themselves. So, like, when you see someone getting so excited and lit up about what they do, because, like, for example, my book, I get so excited about talking about my book. Um, when you see that passion, it's going to give someone else that same permission to go out and be themselves and have that same sort of level of passion and excitement to do the thing that they want to do. So, I just think, we've been so conditioned by society to suppress that. But luckily, I think it's changing. I really do. I think more people are, we're getting, I don't know whether I'm getting older and I care less about what other people think.
Yes.
But but it's also happening, I think, in younger and younger generations too. Of they are also realizing that, oh, yeah, no, we're all just a little bit weird and we all have our quirks and we all, why are we pretending to hide these things? Why don't we just be ourselves and, let the world see that? So much less work, too.
Absolutely. Now, when I look back at my childhood, um, I used to have these make believe stories. I used to
Mhm.
love to sing. I sang in the choir.
Yeah.
Okay. I played the clarinet. I played the saxophone. Okay. Sang in the choir. And so once we start to move away from all of these things into the real world, we forget who we are. Okay. And then we have to live in this world where these things are forced upon us to be in the status quo in order for us uh, to uh, to be the way others want us to be. Okay,
Mhm.
so once I retired, I was able to disconnect from that and to return to myself and figure out who I was. Once I rid myself of all these things that were no longer serving me, that
Yeah.
was benefiting other people, then I was able to get back to the music. I was able to get back to nature. I was able to get back to who I am and what I want because the identity plays a big part
Mhm.
in our creativity
It
process.
really
Would
does,
you
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I love that. I love that for you, and I love that there's people discovering, finding themselves again at all ages too. It doesn't age doesn't need to limit us in anything, whether it's our writing journey, whether it's rediscovering what you enjoy, whether it's finding yourself again, like that can happen at any time. And sometimes all the time. I'm probably going to still continue to learn new things about myself, I hope, for the rest of my life. That's kind of the beauty of being human, is that we don't have it figured out and we don't always know, we're dynamic changing individuals. And so we get to rediscover and redefine who we are in every moment. So,
We get
and
to choose
we do get
who
to
that is.
choose, yes. And I saw Sherry's comment. I wanted to just say thank you, Sherry. I'm so excited that you've been inspired on your publishing journey too. So that was awesome.
This is a good time to take a break to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, and actually, I realized I don't have a copy of my book right here, so I'm gonna
Yes,
run across
please.
the room really quick and grab a copy of my book, so in case
Yes,
people haven't
please.
seen it.
Yes. I'm gonna wait till Jessica Ann come back so she can hear the question or comment, and then she can comment as well. Okay, go ahead, Jessica Ann.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna read Kimberly's comment. Oh, I love it. Yes, getting back to who we are and being unapologetically and authentically you. And that we don't have to have it all figured out. That is so important, right?
No, I don't.
I know. Same. Oh my gosh. So, yes, I grabbed a copy of my book. So, if anyone doesn't know it, it is Woven in Time. And I had an amazing cover designer too. So, I can't take credit for that design, but I love it and it's beautiful. So,
Yes.
yes. And then
Symbolic, actually.
it is very symbolic. Yes. So something I was just thinking about this that I don't get asked a lot is like, and maybe I need to just write my own Substack article about it.
Why
is
not?
is how I write, and maybe because I haven't really thought about it that much because I only have written one book so far, but now I'm doing it again with book 2, and I'm realizing, and everyone's gonna be different in how they process and plan, when they prepare to write a book, but I always start with theme. So, I'm a big picture person, and so I always start with the theme for me. So, even though I have these little scenes that start playing out, like I said, they kind of played out like little movies in my head, um theme to me is so important. It's what message I'm trying to get across, what's the vibe. I'm very much a vibes person, so, what's the vibe of my book? And, for this first book, it was very much about awakening and finding yourself. My characters, that's exactly what they're going through, is they're rediscovering, who they are, learning to listen to their intuition, learning that they're actually more powerful and more magical than they imagined. And, so it's really about finding yourself again. Now book 2, I'm getting super excited about because book 2, while my characters are now kind of come into their own, they're off on this magical journey. Um, and book 2 is going to explore themes of, if you're familiar with like the Jung archetypes. So like Carl Jung talks a lot about different archetypes. There's also the book, oh, I'm blanking. Women Who Run with Wolves. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It talks a lot about the feminine archetypes of like the maiden, the mother, and the crone, which are also reflected in the characters in my book. But specifically, book 2, I'm going to be delving into the wild woman archetype, which I'm so excited. So, the wild woman archetype, if you guys aren't familiar, is really about this and it's a wild woman archetype, but everyone has it. I believe, masculine, feminine, we all have these different energies within us. And so the wild woman archetype really embodies the creativity, the untamed parts of ourselves, the wild parts of ourselves, the unexplainable, the mysterious parts of ourselves. And so and the parts of ourselves specifically too that aren't accepted by society. And so the parts of us that get toned, someone tells us to tone it down. You're a little bit too much. Or don't get angry or don't raise your voice. Things like that. So like I'm going to be exploring themes of power and anger and, what does that look like? And creativity. And so it's very exciting. Like I said, I've been plotting and outlining more in depth book 2 for the last few months, and I actually just started writing. And usually the words flow out of me pretty quickly once I get into the writing mode. So yeah, Millie asked like a little bit like the shadow side of ourselves. It's like that. So it's like the light and the dark. I like to play with those themes too. But yeah, so the wild woman would definitely be represented by that darker side of us. And what does that look like? And how do you embrace that side of yourselves without denying that it exists?
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay. Wow. Let's see if there's any other questions. Joe said they make us, we artists, feel less than until we hit it, and then they objectify us.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, luckily, it's Substack is a space where I think there is more of that acceptance of being able to be your creative, artistic selves without that, and I hope that it's leaching out into the greater world of, respecting artists as, um, as whether, professionals, things like that, but that it is a path that people can choose in life. You don't have to choose the same prescribed, 9 to 5 life, that it is possible to make a living and to, live the majority of your life, doing art, doing writing, creating. So.
Yeah, and you don't have to limit yourself to one specific discipline.
That's
Like for
true.
me, like I said, I like music, I like art, okay, and
Mhm.
like film, okay, I like poetry. So how can we utilize all of these things that we enjoy to help humanity? Okay,
Mhm.
help ourselves heal first of all, and help humanity in the process. That's a
Mhm.
win, 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 and I'll
Yes,
take it.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I actually just started doing, local so I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I just started hosting local book events and doing, so where, like the old time book fairs that we used to have as, like, kids, like the Scholastic Book Fair, but, adult style. So the one I'm having in a few weeks is gonna be in a brewery, and they have like a big warehouse space. And so we're setting up 30 different author booths and vendor booths. And I just realized, I love, again, I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people, but I also love books and writers too. And so I'm like, how can I take these two things? And now I've created another side business out of this. So I'm making money, supporting authors, doing what I love. You just have to get creative with it.
That's in contrast of me because I am an introvert and people find that hard to believe. But
I think most
no,
writers are.
okay, so I do all of this because I found out in my human design chart that I am a manifesting generator.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so writing, it drains me. Talking uh, energizes me. So
Okay.
when you have to realize, look at all these things, your characteristics and all of these things, and figure out how can I utilize my gifts, skills, and expertise to elevate myself and elevate the world. Sometimes it takes a while to figure it out, but that's okay because
Mhm.
each step, baby steps, each step gets you closer to your goal. I don't care how long it takes for you to get there. As long as you keep moving in the forward progress, you're going to get there. right?
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah, absolutely.
remember that little train said, "I think I can." He kept saying, "I think I can. I think I can." So you know he was up the hill. Like, damn, what happened? I'm up the hill.
Yeah.
You got to keep telling yourself, okay? Positive self-talk. We know that works, right?
Yes, that absolutely works. I think also getting like knowing to expect the moments, those low moments, because that's when most people quit, right? When everything seems hopeless. Just think of yourself like a main character in a book. Everyone knows that a good book has the all hope is lost moment. So when you think the main character is going to get caught or going to die or something like that, there's that the dark night of the soul moment when all hope is lost, but then they make it through. Like, we're exactly the same. And if you think about that, like every hard moment you've had in your life, you've made it through. And so to expect those moments to come and then know that you're gonna get through it, I think is like half the battle. um, I'm reading what Carl asked. Starting a story, do you cut the character apart only to save them? I Yes. I torture my characters, no.
But the good thing is it's a story. You are the author of your story, and you can
Yep.
change it anytime you get ready. Okay, remember that. That's the same with your life. Okay?
Mhm.
You are in control. Remember that. Don't
Yep.
give your control away to someone else. Keep it for yourself. Okay?
Yeah. Yes. So, well, thank you for having me, and I don't know, did you have any other questions or if I can tell people where to get Woven in Time?
Yes, please. And is it on Amazon?
It is, yeah, so yes, it is on Amazon, it is on my website, direct from me. I do make more per sale, like, to comparison through my direct site, which is jessannecreates.com. I make about $10 to $15 on every sale. It is $23.99. On Amazon, I only make $7 per sale because they take a cut as well.
Of course.
Of course. Yes, but it is also on Kindle Unlimited right now. I just so if someone's on Kindle Unlimited, it's a subscription and they can read it for free, the ebook. So,
Yeah, exactly. So it's all that information on your website. I want to make sure to also include those links also to make it easier for people to find you when I post the article.
yes, yeah, I can also send them directly to you so they'll have them as well.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have? Oh, let's see. Farad said one of the most uplifting interviews I've ever
Oh,
seen. God
thank
bless
you.
you both. Thank you so much. Joe said, true, especially for me during the time of illness. If you see me less, I'm healthier and getting out too. Well, good for you, Joe.
Mhm.
Okay. This has been really a very thought-provoking conversation, and I hope you guys got a lot out of it. And thank you so much. Let's see. Carl said, creating connections. That's what it's all about.
It really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iona said, you are an amazing young lady. Thank you for doing this much needed work. Okay. And yeah, thank you all for coming. And we have 52 people here. Thank you so much, Jessica
Yeah.
Ann. You are a bright light, and
Thank
we
you for having
wish
me. I
yes.
appreciate it, the opportunity to tell a little bit about my story and my book. And anyone who is listening, don't hesitate to reach out. I do try to, respond, and I'm trying, to connect with as many other writers and help them along their journeys as well here. So that's just my goal.
Thank you all so much. You all take care. Thank you so much. All
Thank
right.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.